Now, let's start with big market teams. I'll probably break this down a couple different ways as far as the first quarter of free agency is concerned before we get to San Diego in 3 weeks. But let's start with the big franchises and see what's going on now as far as where we stand. Big market teams. We're going to start in the American League East. Obviously, going to go Yankees first. And you know Cashman's too good a GM not to have a plan B, but boy, I'm sure he wishes or hopes he doesn't have to go to it and they can re-sign Aaron Judge, because this is the question of all questions as far as the offseason goes. What are the Yankees going to do with Judge? Are they going to go to the limit via money and years? Is San Francisco or the Dodgers or maybe the Red Sox, are they going to go out there and jump in to get him away from New York? I mean, it's again, if push comes to shove, I still think he is going to go back to New York. I've said it for the last 3 weeks. I think he's making a mistake if he doesn't, because they're the only team, forget the Dodgers for a moment, they're the only team that can guarantee every year they're going to be in the mix in October. Giants can't guarantee that because they're not. They can, so from that perspective, I go there or stay there to give myself the best chance. But the Yankees free agent scenario is very, very interesting. If they somehow don't get Judge and Rizzo leaves, the Yankees got major holes they have to fill, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to listen. They're going to bring up a rookie. They got a lot of young shortstops. So that would be the shortstop. They have to play Donaldson. They get LeMahieu back. Will they trade Torres? What are they going to do in that scenario? If they lose Rizzo, they're going to put LeMahieu at second base and keep at first base and keep Torres. They could theoretically do that. They're going to add another pitcher. They got Severino. They got Cole. I mean, they got Cortez. They should have enough pitching, but, they need some offense. They can't do anything about Hicks. He's there. I don't know if they want to play Bader every day in the outfield when, for 162 games. That's a little risky. Stanton, is he a DH? I mean, the Yankees got a lot of issues here, and this is also a franchise that hasn't won in 13 years, hasn't been to a World Series in 13 years. And let's not also forget that the Yankees let Judge walk, and I still think he's going to stay. If somehow he leaves and goes to San Francisco, the owner is going to get all the grief. All right? The owner's going to get killed. They don't love the owner anyway, but, I mean, the owner, they didn't love the other owner either. They didn't like the father. And they think that Hal, the Yankee fan, is a little too passive, a little bit too more like a businessman instead of like a sportsman. And they don't like the way he's running the team. These are Yankee fans. And if they ever let Judge leave, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Yankees to have a quick plan B to take a sting away. We shall see. The Yankees in free agency, they can't wait forever on Judge, because if they do wait too long and he does leave, then what are they going to, then they're stuck. So we see how that works itself out. That's team number one. Team number two is the Red Sox, and you'd be worried about them too. And they got Devers and Bogarts, and, J.D. Martinez, what they can do with him. If they think that somehow they have enough pitching, I don't see it. You can't count on Sale. Evaldi's been hurt a lot. I'm not sure. Tanner Houck, I mean, really? I'm not Pavetta. I mean, I don't know if they have enough starting pitching. And that everyday team, if they ever lost the left side of the infield, what are they going to do in that situation? Put Story at shortstop? Story wasn't he wasn't in a home run scenario as far as their free agent situation is concerned. I mean, Verdugo's a nice little player, but the Red Sox got some major holes. Their talent level isn't great. They've been run like the Tampa Bay Rays, and in Boston at those prices, they don't want to be having their ball club run like the Tampa Bay Rays. When you charge the amount of money they charge to go to a ball game, and then you're going to run it like the Tampa Bay, really? That bothers him, too, and Bloom's done nothing there. So we keep an eye on what's going on with Boston. Do they sign Devers to give him $300 million? Do they break the bank for Bogarts as well? Then what? They still need some other pieces. Their bullpen's a disaster. So the Red Sox have some issues, and, of course, last year, non-competitive in the division. Two big market teams in the American League East that we keep an eye on. And then, of course, we go to the NL West. San Francisco, terrible in attendance last year, boring to watch. They got a little caught up in their success in 2021 when they had the miracle year, really symbolized perfectly by all the pinch hit home runs. Nobody hits 18, 19 pinch hit home runs. The Giants 2 years ago did, helped them win 107 games, a platoon-oriented ball club, but they had a good catcher. They had, obviously, probably a Hall of Fame catcher. They had a shortstop having a great year, and they had Webb, who's a very good pitcher. They used that all the way to Game 5 of the NLDS. They expected the same sort of heroics the following year. That was not going to happen. And then people stopped showing at the ballpark. That's a fickle place. They've been at that AT&T forever. Now you got to put a winning ball club on the field. That's why the GM has said nothing is out of the question, because ownership has said, hey, listen, we got empty seats. We're awful. The Giants and Padres are good. Let's spend some money. And so that is why they're going to go crazy for Judge. I wouldn't even be shocked if they go crazy for Rizzo, because Rizzo and Judge, they're thick as thieves. And don't be shocked if they go there in a package deal. I've been thinking about that from that standpoint as well. What the Giants do with Judge is, number one, I think they're going to pay more money than anybody else. Then it becomes a situation what the Yankees do. They get close enough where Judge will stay. We'll keep an eye on that. But San Francisco must do something this offseason. They have been, they have fallen off in a tough division, in a very fickle market. They have fallen off. They are not going to show up at the ballpark, anymore now, because the ballpark's pretty. That's over with. So we shall see how they handle that. That is team number 3. The Dodgers are interesting, too, because, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Dodgers react to having 111 wins and then falling by their rear ends in a first-round playoff series of San Diego where they did not hit. They brought back Kershaw, $20 million, no problem there. They get Buehler back eventually, maybe a better Dustin May or Rios. They could use another pitcher, but what are they going to do now? If Turner leaves, Justin Turner's out, could they move Betts to second? Could they spend a fortune on Judge and put him in right? Really? Could they do that? It's going to be very interesting to see what the Dodgers do, because the Dodgers have to get by the idea that regular season success is enough. They've won 1 championship since 1988. They got the highest payroll in the sport by far. And I listen, it counts, don't get me wrong, but they got 1 title in all this period of success, and that was in 60 games in a neutral field. So what the Dodgers do here after what was a disaster, they stay the course? Do they realize we got to, do a little something different? Maybe build a team a little differently, not be as interchangeable. They weren't that interchangeable last year. They had everyday players all over the place. How the Dodgers maneuver now will be very, very interesting. And, do they go with that assortment of relievers in the bullpen? It's not Kimbrel. What do the Dodgers do with this team? And do they overreact after getting blown out in the first round of the postseason to San Diego, or they kind of treat that as a blip on the screen? That is team number 4. And then finally, the Mets would be team number 5. The owner wants to win in a worse way. Nothing is going to quench his appetite until they won some championships. I think he's going to go out there. He obviously gave $100 million to Diaz already. Money is going to be no object. They're going to spend more money than any other team in the sport. They get to $300 million. They are not going to go after Judge. That is not going to happen. They're not going to get into a war with the Yankees over Judge. Then the Yankees going to go after DeGrom and poach the Met players. The Mets don't want to get involved in that. That is not going to happen. But the first issue the Mets have to deal with, do they go out there and they give DeGrom anything he wants to bring him back to New York? They seem to say that the relationship is still fine. I got to see it. I think DeGrom's going to want to break the bank. Does the owner want to break the bank? I mean, does he want to break the bank for a guy who doesn't, he pitches 18 starts a year? And he's 30-something years of age. Do you want to do that for DeGrom? That's a very tricky call, because no matter what you pay him, if you're the Mets, you have no idea what you're going to get over a long period of time, because he's always hurt. And so that is something that you're going to have to keep an eye on before you make that big investment. Texas is so desperate to do it. I don't know if the Mets feel the same way, but he is going to spend a fortune, and he don't care what he has to do to try to win a championship. They need another bat in the worst way. Maybe they lose Nemo. Remember, Boris is his agent, and he's going to take a long time. Maybe the Mets don't want to wait around, so that's something they're going to have to consider. They're okay, obviously, at first. They're in great shape with McNeil. I don't think they're going to trade him. They obviously, the Lindor, they can use a catcher. McCann was a terrible signing. He can't hit. They can use a catcher. And if they lose Nemo, they need another outfielder. Maybe they bring back Conforto, who, missed all of last year because he was silly enough to try to play the free agent game and it didn't work out for him. But maybe he'll come back on a decent contract. But DeGrom is very significant there. Remember, they got Bassett, they got Walker, they got other pitchers too. Can't be all Scherzer. He's close to 40 years of age and got booed off the mound in the postseason game against San Diego. And wasn't good the week before that against Atlanta. So he's 40 or 39, whatever he is. So you got to be worried about him a little bit too. We'll see what they do with DeGrom. So a lot of this is the big free agent. Yankees with Judge. What do? The Red Sox with Devers and Bogarts, what do? The Mets with DeGrom, what do? The Dodgers, do they make a run at Judge? What's going on with them? The Giants, desperate. Do they make sure they get Judge on the team no matter what the cost is? So a lot of this is involved 3 or 4 players before you can really settle in and see what these teams are going to look like as far as 2023 is concerned. Judge and DeGrom, New York, throwing a little Red Sox. Fascinating, the first part of the free agent period here in late fall 2022. Lots to still do. No Alana today. We'll keep you moving.